Okay. Hello for anyone who can hear me. We are starting in about 8 minutes, but I've gone live. So if anyone wants to say hello, if anyone wants to chat in the meantime, feel free to send me a message. Feel free to tweet at me, comment on Facebook, comment on LinkedIn, comment on Fundraising Everywhere TV, whatever it is. Chat amongst yourselves, chat with me, and we'll kick off very shortly. Hope you're all doing well. Let's just make sure it's running. Let's just make sure. Oh, it's me. Cool. I'm running. Everyone okay? Surviving? Managing the crises, I hope? Yeah. Strange times. No. I see Michael. Hello, Michael. I see Mo. How's it going, Mo? I see some people on LinkedIn. I see some people on Twitter. I see some people on Facebook. Okay, so we got people coming up. If you've just tuned in, we will be starting in 6 minutes. Here we got JP McLaughlin. Hello, JP. Hello, everyone. Cool. Mo is asking, what is the Facebook link? So the Facebook link, I'm going to tell you right now. It's on our Fundraising Everywhere page. Oh, no, it's in our group. So if you look for the Fundraising Everywhere group on Facebook, search for Fundraising Everywhere on Facebook. It is, we're in there. We're streaming in there as well. And it's on Facebook. It's a private group, but basically, if you work in the nonprofit sector, you will be let in. So if you're not already a member of it, then come on in. So we're streaming on Facebook in the group. We are streaming on LinkedIn, on my LinkedIn. We're streaming on YouTube on the Fundraising Everywhere channel, streaming on Twitter and Periscope. And that's where we are. Oh, and on Fundraising Everywhere TV at fundraisingeverywhere.com/TV. We're kicking off. We're starting in about 4 or 5 minutes. You can watch in any of those places. Just for anyone who's tuning in, you can watch in any of those places. At the end of this, at the end of the session, I'm going to invite anyone who wants to come on and chat is more than welcome to chat. If you want to do that, especially if you have, I suppose, a fear of speaking on video, or you don't particularly like it, or you need to tackle it, then you're very welcome to come on at the end. I'll bring people on and we can have a chat. To do that, if you go to fundraisingeverywhere.com/TV, you'll see a button underneath the broadcast. One of those buttons is for joining me. So as I said, I'll bring people in the end. I'm going to go through the session and then we'll bring people on. I see Christopher. I see Sylvia. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Hope everyone's okay. And I see more people joining us on LinkedIn and Twitter and stuff. Great. So if you're just tuning in, we are kicking off on the hour. So basically, I am just logged in, making sure it's all work, chatting, mingling, networking. You know me, I'm lonely. So if anyone wants to tweet at me or comment on LinkedIn or do whatever you want to do, you are very, very welcome to do that. Christopher's in Long Island, New York. What did I just read about New York? That they're releasing more people than they're taking into hospital for 4 days in a row or something now. So that's a good sign. I don't know. I think we're getting mixed good signs and bad signs everywhere, aren't we? It's hard to keep up. But I hope you're all surviving. Hope you're all staying safe. Hope you're not totally sick of virtual chat yet. I'm nearly there. But yeah, we're going to kick off in about 3 minutes. We'll go through this session and then we'll have some chats. So chill out for 3 minutes, make a cup of tea, grab a drink, whatever you need to do. We will be kicking off shortly. And anyone who's just come across the Fundraising Everywhere group, I'm going to let you know. Oh, I think Nikki already let you. Great. Cool. So we're streaming in there, we're streaming in the group, streaming on LinkedIn, streaming on Twitter, and streaming at fundraisingeverywhere.com/TV. Cool. So kicking off in about 3 minutes. I see Wayne Murray. Hello, Wayne. Who else do I see? What's this? Ah, look, there's a message from Nikki Bell. Good luck, Simon. My business partner. Thank you. I see Linda Lou. Hi, Linda. And Carmen from Epic in Illinois. What does Epic do? Hello, Carmen. Hey, Linda. Hello, Joe and Chris. And yeah, cool. Okay, we got good people. We got a good number of people turning on. Someone just messaged me and said I seem sad. I'm not sad. I'm no sadder than normal. I'm just trying to figure out who've I got and making sure this is working. Maybe I am sad. I mean, look at me. I'm in an apartment by myself, talking to nobody, talking into the void. No wonder I'm sad. We'll be right. Okay, we got 2 minutes till we start. Hope you're doing well. Joe seems to have an echo. Joe, I'm guessing because you have us open in 2 places. So if you went to fundraisingeverywhere.com/TV and then you click to join the broadcast, I'm guessing it's opened up a second window, which is backstage and front stage at the same time. So you're probably hearing 2 streams. So if you close one of your windows, you should only hear one thing. I was right. Joe says she's sorted. Brilliant. So smart. And Andy Watts. Hey, Andy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're all right. Okay. Let's kick off in 1 minute. Let's just do one last sweep. Make sure we're getting everything. Getting everyone. Yeah. There's Sam Butler. Hey, Sam. There's Sylvia in Italy. Hello, Sylvia. Cool. Okay. Cool. 4 o'clock. Will we kick off? Yes. I can't hear you, so we're just going to do it. Okay, you're all really very welcome to this. This is, I suppose, a shortish training session on virtual speaking skills. Not that I claim to be, the best at it at all, but I do a lot of presentations online. And, through Fundraising Everywhere, we run a lot of conferences and a lot of events. So we see a lot of speakers. We edit a lot of videos. We help a lot of people with their recordings. So what I'm going to try and do for you today is, I suppose, share what I've learned as my time as a presenter and a speaker online, and also what I've learned from working with other people. So my name is Simon Scriver. For those of you who don't know me, I'm one of the co-founders of fundraisingeverywhere.com. We provide a platform for people to run their own events, run their own conferences, run their own webinars, whatever it is they want to do. They can run it through the platform. And obviously, more and more at the moment during all this COVID-19 stuff, I imagine you are seeing more and more people broadcasting online, more and more people streaming. And I imagine you've noticed people who are very engaging and you stay to the end and you really love it. And then other people who, it's a bit of a disaster, it's not very interesting, and you start to drift. So we're going to talk through today, I suppose, what the difference is, and we're going to get you thinking about what you can do to make your own meetings, presentations, live streams, whatever it is, make them a bit more engaging, and I suppose the crucial technical elements that make them work and make them don't work. And obviously I'm here to answer any questions as well. So if anyone wants the question on YouTube or on Facebook or on Twitter or on Fundraising Everywhere TV, whatever it is, I'll be keeping a look at all the comments, and I'll answer questions as they come up. There's Girls Inc. Hello, Girls Inc. Thanks for joining us. So this is the way we're going to run today, and hopefully this covers everything you're looking for. But as I say, if you want to ask any questions, then please feel free. So we'll talk a little bit about the different formats, about how you can start streaming online. We'll talk a little bit about the tools that are out there to do it. If you're new to this and you don't really know where to start with it, if you're nonprofit or your business or yourself has been forced online, and you don't really know how to start streaming it, I'm going to share some of those tools. I'm going to talk particularly around equipment, just quickly about lighting and microphones and things like that, stuff to make it look a bit better and sound a bit better. We'll talk about topic and the audiences, so what you're talking about and who you're talking to, and just consider some of that. I'll go through a few tips in terms of starting up and in terms of content and interaction through it, because you're going to hear me harp on about that a lot. That interaction is the key with making these things work. And then just some general speaking tips I'll fly through. But at the end, what we're doing, I reckon that'll take maybe half an hour. Let's see how we go, depending on how many questions come through. But at the end, what I'm going to do is anyone who wants to come on and chat, you can come on and chat. So I already see there's a queue of people in the waiting room or backstage. So if you can't get in, maybe just try again later. I'll get people in. I'll try and get people speaking very quickly. Get just a couple sentences or whatever, even before we boot them out. The point of this is kind of, I suppose, inspired by Toastmasters. If anyone's ever been to Toastmasters, which is about public speaking, the best way to tackle it is to do it. Yeah, the best way to tackle it is to do it. So what we're trying to do here is create almost a safe space, somewhere that's a bit secure, somewhere where I'm not going to give you shit or make you look stupid, but we're just going to come on and have a bit of a chat. This is a great way to get it done, get it out the way, clear those cobwebs, so that you can kind of look forward to doing something proper around your business or charity. So that's the purpose of this. Go through some of the tips, and then it's basically an open mic. Anyone who wants to chat, come on. You might feel a bit nervous, you might feel a bit of a dick, but get it done. I promise you'll feel great once you do it, and then you can spend the rest of the day celebrating that you've done it, and then I promise next night will be easier. Is that fair? Everyone with me? Everyone agree? Okay, great. What else we got here? Oh, Rebecca. Rebecca says hi from Toronto. She's interacting. That's good. We love a bit of interaction. Okay, so let's talk a little bit first of all about format. So I started streaming. It's definitely over 7 years ago. 7 years ago, I set up my fundraising YouTube channel. So I've been streaming for quite a while with pre-recorded stuff and with live stuff. And I've tried lots of different formats, and there's lots of different ways you can do it. There's, you've obviously seen lots of different things happening in terms of big conferences, people just jumping on very informally and chatting. So it's worth thinking about the different ways, I suppose, that you can present yourself and the ways that you can start doing this. So first of all, you want to kind of consider how long you're presenting these things, or how long you're expecting people to watch. So this is quite an interesting one, because, in the real world, we had the 60-minute meeting was pretty standard. But now the thoughts of a 60-minute meeting are crazy. I wouldn't schedule anything longer than a 45-minute meeting. So in terms of presenting and in terms of, what we expect people to sit through online, people seem to have a much, I don't want to say shorter attention span, but it's very tempting to multitask. It's very tempting to look at other things. And it's just harder to hold people's attention because they're in their own surroundings. They're not surrounded by people. There's so many other things they could be doing. So I think if you're presenting, whether it's to your donors, supporters, customers, whatever, you need to respect that time and understand people are approaching this different. So anything that's hitting 60 minutes or above, I think we really struggle to hold people's attention. They want to get a taste of it. They want to maybe come back to a recording, and they want to kind of just get this flash of information or keeping it pretty brief. Having said that, if you've got, appropriate content, if you've got appropriate thing that you're presenting, we can go longer. For us, for all of our events, we generally stick to 45-minute sessions and even 15-minute sessions. So just trying to keep that short, sharp chat. I think if we can move between subjects quite rapidly or between speakers, then it holds that interest. No one wants to listen to the same person speaking for 6 hours. And then also being mindful, if we can bring more than one voice or more than one face onto the presentation, then it's obviously going to hold people's attention a bit more than just one person talking. So this is the main challenge we're having here online, is that there's so much noise, there's so much going on, and especially now there's so much being pushed out for free. How do we hold the people's attention, and how do we give them something what they want? How do we work into their schedule, I suppose? So in terms of when you're going to broadcast, again, there's no right answer to this, but we want to be mindful of our audience. One of the biggest challenges is we have people across all different time zones. Whether you're consciously or unconsciously tapping into new audiences, you're going to find they're around the world. So whenever you broadcast, whenever you stream something or present something online, what you're going to find is that it doesn't suit most people. So it's a massive pain in the ass. So we have to consider that. We have to consider, can we rebroadcast stuff? Can we make recordings available? And understanding who our audience is, and I suppose what their kind of schedule is. So even if you're broadcasting regional, and your target audience are parents, if you're a charity who's trying to engage parents, you want to be mindful of the schedule that they're going through with their kids. When are they actually going to be able to sit down and watch this, whether it's live or whether it's recorded? Is this something that they're going to have on in the background to be reasonably passive? Or is it something that they really need to focus on? So we just want to be, as always, we want to be mindful of the surroundings that these people are in, and make sure we're not expecting them to do something which is just totally irrational, that they're just not going to do. Where we broadcast, this is kind of the main question I'm getting, and this is again another interesting one. Everyone seems to be defaulting to Zoom, yeah, and Zoom is good and it'll do a lot of what you need. There's questions about, I suppose, the data security of it, and there's questions about how, I suppose, user friendly it is. It's quite corporate. It can feel quite stiff. I'm not a huge fan of Zoom myself, but I can see why people use it, and I have used it. But generally, people tend to fall towards Zoom just because it's a known name and their marketing is really good. But I would say for whatever you're trying to do, almost certainly Zoom isn't the best option. Yeah, and so I would really strongly encourage you to look further afield. Zoom has a lot of limits on what you can do on the free or the cheap versions. And although that your customers or your audience are going to know the name, and that really helps you, there are better options. So obviously I'm going to mention our platform, which is Fundraising Everywhere, FE Plus, which is available for people to hire or use to broadcast their own things. But there's other great ones. If you hate me and you don't want to work with me, that's fine. But there's other ones. So actually what I'm broadcasting this on, it's kind of through our site, but I'm also using a thing called StreamYard. StreamYard, I love. StreamYard is amazing. It's one of the best tools out there. So StreamYard is really good if you want to just start live streaming yourself, or live streaming a couple of people, having a chat with guests, or showing pre-recorded videos, things like that. StreamYard's really good. It's really affordable. Most of these things work in a way that they have a free version, which is quite limited, and then you're paying a small monthly amount to use them. So I really recommend StreamYard, especially if you're going down the road of chatting, especially if you're going down the road of interviews with other people. YouTube itself is actually a really powerful tool that's overlooked for live streaming and pre-recorded stuff. We all know it for watching old videos or watching pre-recorded stuff. But their tools for live streaming are really, really good in that you can, obviously people know YouTube very well, so it's very easy for them to go on. You might already have a YouTube channel that you can feed into. They have some really good editing tools. They have really good music and effects, and all of this stuff is free. So I am a huge fan of YouTube. YouTube is, I suppose, where I started and where I continue to use sometimes, depending on what I'm doing. But YouTube is really effective, and it's always free. And because people know it really well, they're comfortable using it. They know how to use it. And as well, because it's a big public platform, that if you're live streaming publicly on YouTube, and you don't have to, you can live stream privately. But if you live stream publicly on YouTube, it means you can gain in other audiences that you maybe didn't tap into. People who go onto YouTube and see it as a recommendation to watch, or they search for a particular topic and your video comes up, whether it's live or pre-recorded. So I'm a big fan of YouTube. And then social media itself. So I stream sometimes on Twitter, on Periscope. Facebook obviously has good live streaming tools as well. So I think the best thing to do is consider where your audience is already, and you're trying to feed into that. So most nonprofits, I work mainly with nonprofits. Most nonprofits already have a presence on Facebook, already have a following, already have a group. So rather than trying to start again fresh, this is a good way to build it up. Or look at these tools and what we're using, and consider how you can embed them into your own website. We want to try and keep our own audiences to ourselves. So if we're sending them off to Zoom, we lose them a little bit. They become Zoom's audience. Whereas if we can keep them on our website, even on our social media, on our YouTube, then we keep we keep a bit of ownership about them. So one of the cool things about streaming with YouTube is you can actually stream to YouTube, and then you can embed that YouTube video on your own website. And so people are in your website environment, but actually it's all powered by YouTube behind the scenes. And you don't have to worry about that side of it. Or once you're streaming on YouTube, you're also streaming onto your website. So I really, really recommend looking at that. And if that's something you need some help with, or you want to chat about, then feel free to get in touch with me afterwards. My contact details are at the bottom there. When you think about how often you stream, there's no right answer to this. It's like email, it's like newsletters, it's like those things. How often can you send those out? And I think for me, it's the same advice I give with email and newsletters and things like that, is flip it and look at it from the other side. How much content do you have, good content that people are interested in, and what timing does that result in? So usually what happens, the mistake we make is we commit to maybe broadcasting or contacting our audience, say once a week. Yeah. And then what happens is that time comes around and we either have loads has happened that week and we can't actually really cram it in, or nothing's happened and then we scramble to think what we should put out, and we end up putting out something which is actually not that interesting and not that engaging. So when you commit to these timelines, what happens is actually sometimes the content suffers and the way you communicate suffers. Instead, I would really urge people to think about, how often do you have something to say? How often do you have a new story? Or how often do you have a new piece of information that's useful for people? How often do they want this content? And then work backwards from there. So, in theory, you could go live every single day if you have something to say. People will watch you. Famous YouTube influencers like Logan Paul or whoever these people are watching these days. They stream every day and they get a massive audience watching it every day, because that's what their audience wants. Having said that, if I was going to stream every day, or nonprofits were going to stream every day, there's a good chance a lot of it would be quite flat and a lot of it would be quite boring because we're not as interesting as Logan Paul. So just kind of consider how much content you have, where that content's coming from, and then let that kind of dictate your schedule. And let it dictate your schedule how often you can do it and maintain it, because like all of these marketing tools or all of these communication tools, the key is to be consistent and keep doing it. It takes time to build an audience, it takes time to get repeat people coming back, and it takes time to really grow. So there isn't really much point in testing this for a few weeks or for a month and then giving up because you haven't gone viral. You've got to commit that, okay, I'm going to be putting 6 months or a year of my time into this. It's only going to be once a week or once every 2 weeks or once a month, but I'm going to do it consistently because I need my audience to know that I'm going to be there. So it's really, really worth considering that. And then finally, consider what you can bring into on screen to make it a little bit more interesting. And make it more accessible for people. So one of the key things here, one of the key rules I have with any broadcast is that there's always video. Yeah, so you could always see someone speaking and moving. For me, that's crucial, because if you go to a webinar, if you go to a virtual conference or any virtual event and it's just a static slide, it's boring, man. And it's very easy to just flick across and check your email. It's very easy to go and do something else at the same time, and then you get pulled into that, and that's distracted. Essentially, you want your screen changing as much as possible, and the easiest way to do that is to always have a video presence on there. So you can see, like for me here, I've got video always going on. So unfortunately, you always have to see my face and the fact that I desperately need a haircut. But you can see the slides on this side. You can see the slides that I'm presenting as well. So there's information I can put up there, but I'm always keeping moving, always keeping static. What I could do as well is I could bring in other videos. I could bring in other guests to chat around it. I mean, one of the things I love about StreamYard and the Fundraising Everywhere platform and a few other platforms is you can actually get people to engage, and you can bring them up. So see, like Rebs D on Twitter has said, this is a great topic. Thanks so much. I made a donation. So I can actually bring that up on screen. It gets the screen moving. It gets a bit of interaction with people, and it just gets people feeling like there's a community watching this. this is what we're trying to do. The reason real life events work is because you can hear and you can see and you can feel people around you. And so we need to try and bring that into our virtual events as much as possible to keep them interesting. So always try and keep the screen moving, whether that's animation, whether that's using video, whether that's sharing a screen of what you're doing. Whatever it is, try and bring those things in, because that's going to make all the difference between holding people's attention and not. Some people, you're just not going to be able to hold their attention. I always recommend subtitles where possible. We're streaming this on social media today, and it's a free event, so I haven't got subtitles besides the auto YouTube subtitles. But generally, for most of our events, we pay a live subtitling company who subtitles the stuff free. About 80% of people watch video with no sound. Yeah, so the majority of people watch video with no sound. So it's really key that you have subtitles on that. If it's not for the live show, at least for the recording. And again, YouTube especially make that really easy to add subtitles to any of your video. Just the final point there I have on screen is about sharing audiences. And this is really, really key. If you're starting a new channel, or a new broadcast or a new podcast or a new anything, the easiest way to grow it quickly is to piggyback on someone else's audience. Yeah, that's the easiest way to piggyback, the easiest way to grow it quickly initially. So what I really recommend you do, especially in the early stages, is you reach out to someone who has an audience. Someone who's going to bring their audience to you a little bit. So if you're interviewing, an influencer in your local community or in the area that you work in, if you can get them on and chat to them, it's going to help your numbers, because you're going to be able to nab a few of their audience. So this is a really good way of just getting that quick injection of people to watch it, is actually using someone else's audience. And you have, especially at the early stages, if you don't really have an audience, if you're not a nonprofit or a business who already has a big audience, you're probably going to have to do this. Guests are a great thing for your program. It keeps it interesting. It keeps it different. It makes it less work for you, but also, it's about bringing in a different audience. So I really recommend you reach out to people who are popular or known in the area of discussion that you're talking about, and try and get them on. Try and use them to bring you on. I mean, it's mutually beneficial, because they're going to get access to your audience, but that's the point. It's kind of that audience swapping thing, if that makes sense. All right, let me just see if we've got any questions. One of the problems with this platform that I'm using, LinkedIn, is that they don't, or actually every platform, they can't pull in messages from LinkedIn. LinkedIn has not yet figured out how to send messages to other platforms. Whereas if you comment on Twitter or you comment on Facebook, I see it in the one place. But LinkedIn is not there yet. So on equipment, hold on. Let's see my COVID cough. I did the elbow. It's pretty impressive. So a little bit on equipment. Equipment to start streaming is actually really cheap. Yeah, it's actually really cheap, and it's really, if you're doing even one video, for me, it's really worth the investment, because the difference it makes is huge. So what I've got there is a link there, fundraisingeverywhere.com equipment, with just a bit more detail and some links to actual equipment if you're looking to buy it. So stuff that me and Nikki Bell recommend, we've got on there. But just to go through kind of what that looks like. The first thing that's really important if you're planning on doing any videos is lighting. Yeah, lighting. So natural light is not good. Natural light is not very good, because it moves. It's inconsistent. It doesn't usually kind of fully flesh out your face like that. So what we really want, the cheapest way to do it, is what we call a ring light. So see the thing in the top left-hand corner? See if I can do this. Yeah, see that thing there that I'm pointing at? That's a ring light. You can usually get those for about 10 or 20 quid online. And essentially they clip on your laptop, or they clip on your phone, or they clip on a stand, and they front light you here. And the idea is that they get rid of all of your shadows. If you can get rid of all of your shadows, then your face is going to appear better. Now, what I use a much bigger light. I actually have two big lights, which look almost like TV professional lights. They came with my green screen, which I'm going to get into for a moment. So they're way too big for my apartment, but they were pretty cheap, and actually the lighting is pretty good. So I'm actually only using one at the moment, but you can see I'm reasonably evenly lit. In a perfect world, I'd have my two lights, and they would be lighting me from here. Generally, when we set up lights, we set them up coming from two different directions like this, so there's no shadows. But the simpler version is we buy something like a ring light, which is front based, and it comes at my face and gets rid of all the shadows. So in the equipment list that we've provided, I think I've linked to a couple of ring lights there. And like I said, you can get them really, really cheap, or you can splash out a bit and get more, but you don't necessarily need to. Those cheap ring lights work really, really well. They make you look much better. Yeah, not me, obviously, but most people, they make look much better, and they give them a bit of confidence that actually that lighting, that's part of it. If you feel confident in how you look, then you're going to come across a bit better on screen. So it's certainly worth it for me, spending a bit of money on those lighting. Now, microphone. So the first microphone I have there, which kind of looks like the wire with the little mic thing, that's what we call a lapel mic or a lavalier, or whatever else people call it. They're those little ones that clip onto your tie or wherever here. And then the wire just goes straight into your microphone socket on your phone or on your laptop. These are brilliant. Yeah, these are brilliant. So again, they cost probably a tenner. I think you can even get them for less than $10. And essentially the difference they make to the sound is huge. Yeah, it's huge. And so for that sake of tiny piece of equipment, I really recommend it. If you're doing interviews, you can actually, I mean, we're not going to be doing in-person interviews anytime soon, but if you're doing in-person interviews, you can have two of these little mics, which split and come into your phone or into your laptop. And the quality that it picks up is really, really good. Audio quality is amazingly important in this stuff. Audio equipment, the audio quality is really, really important. If you're listening to a webinar, if you're hearing someone speak and it's a bit crackly, it's a bit tinny, it's very easy to lose attention and drift off. Where if that sound is coming through nice and rich, nice and full, it's really noticeable, and it's much easier to pay attention. So what I use for my microphone, if I'm not using one of those lapel mics, is I use the thing in the very top right-hand corner, which looks like this. Yeah. So this is a Yeti mic. They cost about $100, something like that. The sound is really good. They make you look like a bit of a dickhead, but some people like it. When you've got the microphone sticking up like this. Some people don't, and you could have it off camera like this. I think it looks kind of cool, doesn't it? And it makes me sound like a radio DJ coming straight at you from, and all that. So for me, this was really worth it, getting this mic. It's really good because I do a lot of webinars and presentations and stuff like that. But also for in real life interviews, you can change the settings so it picks up sound all around, or you can change the settings so it just picks up sound from this direction. I love it. I love the Yeti mics. But a really cheap version, the lapel mic, that's going to do the job for you. Green screen. Yeah, so I bought a green screen. I mainly bought it because I needed a white background, and I didn't really have a white background. So I bought a thing with a white sheet, green sheet, and a black sheet, and it came with lighting. And I think the whole thing for the lighting, the green screen, everything together cost about $100. Yeah, and it was, for me, is a pretty good deal. Green screen stuff is really it's really funny, actually. I mean, my green screen isn't really set up there, so you can't see it. But say, for example, on what I'm broadcasting, I wonder if this is going to work. Let's see. I could actually turn on a bit of a green screen there. You can see some of the stuff is beginning to turn into Paris. Yeah, and if I pull out my my curtain a bit, you might actually be able to see that. Bonjour. Yeah. So it's like, oh fuck. Sorry, nearly fell off my chair. So you can see, like, the green screen. It's pretty cool. If you have a really disgusting background like I do, then you can actually cover it up, and you can put anything you want into that green screen. Yeah, you can change it into look like an office. You can change it to look like, we had some special backgrounds made up and stuff like this. Basically, you can do anything. But it's a good way. For me, it's just more of a joke. I just think it's quite funny. But for some people who don't have a very good background, or they want to appear to be in a particular place, it can work really well. And like I said, it's pretty cheap. Final tip on the equipment there is positioning of the camera. Yeah, and this is pretty crucial. But what you notice as more and more people are doing these video calls is that we all look horrific because of the positioning of our laptops. So usually our laptops are down, and we're kind of down like this, and we're looking down, or we're looking at a weird angle. And this is why you get the chubby neck thing here is because we're generally looking down at our laptops like this. So that's all fine for chats and meetings and stuff like this. But if you're doing anything public, what I really recommend is that you elevate your laptop. Yeah, so you can see that essentially how I have it now, my camera is in line with my eyes. That's not where I would usually have my laptop. My laptop would usually be lower and I'd be up like that and I'd be fat chin. So I really recommend you find a little platform or a little table like this in the photo there to elevate your laptop if you're planning on doing a few of these. I use a box of cereal. Yeah, so my laptop is currently on a box of cereal. It just brings it up a little bit higher, and it just means you're talking straight. You're talking directly. It seems like such a minor thing, but for free, it makes your broadcast much, much better. Yeah, it makes it much, much better because you don't have that weird, neck fat or whatever, but also you feel like you're full on and you're just talking to the person. So it's a minor thing, but I really, really recommend it's worth doing. In terms of your topic, I'm not going to spend too much on this because I assume you all have things that you already know you want to talk about. But I used to do a training thing with Toastmasters at a few of the Toastmasters conferences about how to come up with a topic. And it's the same kind of thing with this. If you just want to get into streaming, if you want to start trying to build an audience, and you don't know what you want to talk about, then these are the kind of things that you might talk about. Think about you or your business. What are your own hobbies? What are your own values? Talking about stuff that's going on around your personal life is going to be engaging. Talking about what's going on in the news, seeing what's popular with other people who are streaming. Just think beyond, I suppose, your core mission or your core business, and think about what other areas you can start to bring people in. That's going to be interesting for other people. So there's no right way to do this, but it's worth testing other content. It's worth testing other subjects, just seeing what people start to respond to, and tapping into that. But being a bit flexible and knowing that you can, spend more time talking about something if people are receptive to it, and try and kind of skirt over and move on if people are not very interested in it. Also, a multinational, just to be aware, there's a few things that come into play here. Because obviously now what's happening, if you're moving your real life event into a virtual world, what you're going to find is that actually you suddenly have new audiences that maybe you didn't expect. So we need to be aware that maybe your audiences are no longer local. So just be mindful of things like local references. Be mindful of the time zones that you're putting your things on, because you want to try and appeal to the people who are actually going to be coming. If you're doing this on a regular basis, you want to find that balance between in-jokes with people who already know you and maybe people who are coming on to see you for the first time. So it's quite a difficult one in terms of trying to find that balance to keep it interesting for people, because in-jokes are good and references to old stuff is really good because it makes us all feel like we're part of the club. But also you're trying to get people new in every day or every week. And so we need to be mindful of explaining those in-jokes a little bit and explaining those references that maybe they don't pick up on. We want to be mindful of our accents, and I suppose jargon and local dialect and any words that wouldn't really mean anything to people. So I'm fortunate to have a pretty neutral accent because I grew up in Hong Kong, but I suppose sometimes I would come out with some Irish phrases and stuff that people haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. So you have to be really mindful of who you're speaking to and just either try and explain around it, or just choose your language and choose your references carefully, because suddenly you've got a whole new audience here. In terms of your name, or using names, whether you're interviewing people or whether you're talking through your own things, obviously pronunciation can be challenging sometimes if you're working internationally. So it's always just worth being prepared, having those conversations with people, making sure we're not messing up their names, nothing crazy there. But as well, yourself repeating your own name. So my surname is Scriver. People get it wrong all the time. People say Shriver. I have no idea why. And so even in my own sessions or my own streams, I have to kind of repeat my name once in a while so that it kind of sticks with people to the best of their ability. And just finally on that multinational element, obviously this is an opportunity now to do these live streams. It means we can suddenly get speakers from around the world, from backgrounds that we maybe otherwise didn't have access to. And this is a real gift for us to hear these different voices. But we have to work quite hard to be diverse and inclusive, because our default reaction is to, I suppose, talk to people and bring on people who look like us. And that's no good really for anyone. So we just have to, take that time when you think about who you're chatting to, or who even is presenting on behalf of your company or your cause. Just look at the different faces and the different voices around you, and let's try and bring that diversity into it, because it's going to be much more appealing to an audience. Yeah, people, we want people from all walks to engage with us, and they're more likely to do that if they see someone who looks like them on screen. Okay. I want to touch on vulnerability a little bit. This is kind of like a hot topic, I think, at the moment, and I think it's going to become bigger and bigger. Because you're doing video events now versus real life events, what's happening is you're inviting people into your home, and people are seeing the mess, and people are seeing all the stuff that's going around. And so we've crossed into this weird vulnerable space where maybe we're letting people more in than we necessarily want to. Now, this can be a really, really positive thing for our video broadcast, but it's a really positive thing for everything in life, even our existing events and our existing engagement with everyone. I find the more open we are, the more human we are, the more vulnerable we are, the more positive people respond. Yeah, and the easier it is to form relationships if we're very open and honest like that. So there's a few things in our video broadcast just to reflect on that. People get very worried about like kids and cats and just general noises and stuff like that coming in, and they're very apologetic about it. But actually, I don't know anyone who doesn't love a pet or a kid running into a virtual stream. Like, we just all like love it. Like when you're in school, do you remember when a dog ran into your school when you're a kid and everyone was like, "Wah!" It was like the best day ever. It's the same thing. So when you're doing these video presentations, we don't have to apologize about our kids and our animals and the stuff that's going on around them, but we do have to acknowledge them. And so I really recommend bringing them into the conversation, referencing them, not trying to hide them, but just actually pointing out the fact that this is happening. Now, I know my son as well. I have an 8-year-old son. And sometimes when I'm streaming, he has no interest. And other times when I'm streaming, he really wants to get in on it, see it, understand what's happening. And obviously that can be like detrimental for a business session or things like that. But actually what I find really works really well is if I acknowledge him, if I talk to him, if I invite him on, if I explain to the people I'm talking about, that this is my son, he loses interest really quickly and he leaves. But what it's done there is it's just kind of dealt with him from that point of view, but it's also brought people into this world, into this life, into this thing. So I'm a big believer in like not trying to hide the flaws and not trying to hide the mistakes, but allowing people to be part of it, because people really appreciate that and they feel that connection with you. Likewise with your mic and your camera, this is stuff to get right, and it's going to make a big difference to your presentations, but I wouldn't let it hold you back. If your lighting isn't perfect, if your sound isn't perfect, if you feel like you're going to muddle your way through this, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. The key thing here is to do it. If you want to do it, I'm not saying do it, you have to do this stuff. But if this is something that you see is going to be good for your business or your career, or you're just going to enjoy it, then just do it. Don't hold back, and don't wait for that perfect camera and that perfect episode and that perfect edit, because it never comes. It's never going to be perfect. And so it's just about what I'd love to see you do after this session, if you don't get a chance to come on and chat to me in a minute, is actually just go live on Twitter or go live on Facebook or go live wherever on YouTube and just try it. Yeah. And it's not going to be perfect, but you learn so much more from doing it than reading about it, practicing, doing all this stuff. You just learn so much more. So just do it. Make your mistakes. We're not going to hold it against you. As long as you don't film yourself in the bathroom. That's like the one rule I have. Like, don't accidentally film yourself in the bathroom. But everything else, it just doesn't matter if there's flaws, if there's mistakes. People connect to it. People are good and people understand, especially now with everything we're going through. And just my last point there is about not putting pressure on yourself. So, whenever I do these things, I'm always like, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that. It's fine to be like, Simon, shut up. I'm not going to do this. I'm not in the right headspace for this right now. I'm not able for it. This is too much. That's fine. That's fine. One of the things you can do, if you still feel your nonprofit would benefit from being online and using video, if you still felt your business would benefit from it, is look at other voices. Yeah, look at other voices around your organization. You can be the person behind the camera. You can queue it up. You can get them to speak. You can get volunteers in. You can use animations to do that. So it can still happen even if you're not comfortable putting yourself out there. If you're not ready to put yourself out there, don't. Like, who cares? You know, it's just work. But if you're able to do it, just do it. Just do it, because you're going to feel much better from it, and I promise you're going to learn a lot from doing it. Okay. This is a good point by Bridget. Caption subtitles are also an accessibility issue for the deaf and hard of hearing. Absolutely. And that's why on our platform, for all of our conferences, we always have subtitles. That's why good things like YouTube, they do auto subtitles. They're not amazing, but they do them. But that's 100% right. It's an accessibility issue. In the same way your event venue is wheelchair friendly or is accessible, our virtual events also need to be accessible. Great point. Okay. So we're going to get started in a second. I'm going to get you up. But there's just a couple things I'm going to fly through. This actually went on way longer than I thought it would be. Maybe we'll do it again next month. Just a couple things in terms of getting started. So when you're getting ready to start your broadcast, I've just written there, don't get clipped. Because essentially when you go live, what happens is there's usually a delay before it registers, and before it actually goes live. And then there's usually even more of a delay before people start watching, because people don't watch from the very, very beginning, obviously. They get the notification, it takes some time to look. So what happens there is you're at real risk of being clipped, which essentially is people miss the first bit of what you said. So there's a few ways to tackle this. Part of it is repetition, understanding that people dip in and out. And so if there's something really key that I want to get across, say, for example, following me on Twitter at Toast Fundraiser, then I'm going to mention it time and time again throughout the session. I'm going to drip feed it so that even if people jump in and jump out, they're hopefully going to still hear my call to action and hopefully still follow through on it. Especially at the beginning, one of the tricks which I picked up from Stephen Shattuck, and I called the Shattuck chat, is a great one. Is essentially whenever he goes live on a webinar, I do it now as well, is you stream, but you're just there. You don't start yet. So you spend like 5 or 10 minutes chatting, engaging with people in the comments box and just seeing what's going on. Good thing about that is you never get clipped. You never get clipped at the beginning, but it allows people to start engaging, start seeing it, start sharing it, start recognizing it, and start coming in before you even get started. So they're not going to miss the real beginning. So I'm a big fan of that. And then I keep going on about interaction. It's the same thing. Anything you do, how can you bring in questions and answers? How can you give shout outs to people who are spectating? How can you get guests on? How can you share video, things like that? We're doing more and more stuff around like polls and surveys. Someone's talking about doing like gambling, while you're watching, having this gambling widget underneath. So just think about how you can bring interaction into your event, because, it's like all we've been talking about for the last few years around Instagram and social media and stuff like that. People want to see themselves in content now. They want to see themselves in the photo. They want to be, part of it with a selfie. And video is the same thing. People want to come on and they want to speak and they want to be part of it. People want to see their name up there. People want to hear a shout out. So if you can do that, you've locked people in. You have people, you've at least held their attention for a while, or they're going to come back and watch it because they're part of the show. So it's really, really key. Okay. Just on that call to action, I think I said it, people dip in and out, so repeat it, ask them what they want to do next, and make it really easy. So one of the things on fundraising, if you go to fundraisingeverywhere.com/TV, if you're watching it there, you'll see the 2 buttons underneath the screen. One of them says to go to our equipment page. So all the equipment recommendations I had, you can click and you can see it there. So it brings into that interaction thing. And the other button is to come on and chat. And I can see there's a few people here waiting to come on and chat. Just by clicking that button. So that call to action is there, but I've also made it really, really easy by embedding those buttons to exactly what I want people to do, if that makes sense. And then just finally in wrapping up, you just want to be mindful of time. I mean, I'm generally not, which is a bad thing. Like I should be much more strict with my time. But if we're running a conference for a third party, for example, we know that they want to finish at this time or their session finishes at this time. And so we're really in their face about this is the clock, this is the countdown, this is the timer. And speakers know that they're going to get booted off the stage when their time comes up. So it's just being mindful and respectful of that, of people's time. People have a limited amount of time. I said people don't want to watch up to 60 minutes. We're approaching 60 minutes now, so I'm sorry about that. But you know what I mean. This is really engaging. And then I've just got some tips in there. Finally, this is around my public speaking thing, because I'm about to get people on to chat to me, and just a few tips there around speaking skills. Yeah, this applies in real life, and it applies in video speaking as well. But this is a practice thing, and it's just finding the confidence in yourself and the mindset to know that you're capable and that you're certainly qualified to do this. It's tempting to look at other people doing videos and feel like they know what they're doing, feel like they're experts, feel like they have a right to be up there. And if you've ever seen me talk, run sessions before, I often say this. The reality is nobody has a fucking clue what they're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing in life. Yeah, like nobody knows what they're doing. And it's the same thing with these presentation skills and these experts who are out there talking. They are absolutely struggling through life and they have no idea what they're doing. So you have as much right as anyone to get up on stage and put your thoughts and put your opinions out there. And I would argue we need to hear from you. Yeah, if you haven't found the confidence to put your opinion and your experience and your thoughts out there, we need to hear it, because at the moment all we're hearing from is like overly confident white men who love telling us how expert they are, people like me. Whereas actually what we want to see is a diverse range of voices, and we want to hear experiences from people. And so it's understanding you are qualified to share your experiences. Even if you've only ever failed, yeah, we can learn loads from that by sharing your failures and understanding what's gone through. So we all have lots of value, lots of expertise to share. And usually the only thing holding us back is within our mind, is thinking that we're not good enough, or that people are better than us. I find myself and basically anyone I've ever worked with, we are very unreliable narrators in our own lives. I've always got a little voice in my head telling me I'm terrible at this, that I'm really bad at it, that nobody cares, whatever. And I have to just park that and ignore it while I do things like this, because I know they're really good for business and really good for growing an audience, and they work. But I have extreme self-doubt. And I think everyone does. So it's just about understanding everyone has that and just taking the leap and doing it. There's a few more tips there in terms of, if you're doing a really crafted presentation or a really crafted speech or whatever. But we might look at that another time, because I'm just conscious of time and I really want to get people up. So what we might do, if anyone has any questions, feel free to send them through. I might actually do this again in a few weeks and dive a bit deeper into some of those things. But what I'm going to do now is I have a queue of people who are waiting to come on and chat, and I'm going to bring them on. So I'm going to bring people on. I apologize in advance if I'm rude and I rush you and eventually I kick you off pretty quickly. It depends how many people are trying to get on here, because I'm going to try and finish up in the next 15 minutes and I want to try and give everyone who wants it a chance. But if you want to come online and chat to me now in front of people and just whatever, man, let's just have a chat, then you can go to fundraisingeverywhere.com/TV and you can click on a button there to join the live stream. The room might be full, and if it is, then just come back and try again. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my first person up, and the first person in the queue is Mo, actually. So if Mo wants to come on, if anyone doesn't want to come on, totally cool. But if you want to come on, you should totally come on. So I'm going to bring on Mo now, if he's ready.
I'm ready. Hi.
You ready?
Did I get cut off? I talked really fast. I didn't wait for my cutoff.
Oh yeah, you were already talking. How are you?
Yeah, I'm just right. How are you, man?
I'm pretty good. Are you doing a lot? You were already doing a few videos and stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, we're trying to I'm just sitting around the house for the past 3.5 weeks. So I just kind of launched into sending video messages to all my donors and all my participants. Yeah. There's this great, I'll just share it. It's either called Bomb Bomb or Boom Boom, where you can send a 5-minute video embedded in an email that's a GIF. So you send an email and it says, "Hi, it's recorded a video for you," and it's a 1-minute video or a 5-minute video, versus a 13-second video, which you can send by an email if you do it on your phone, because it's such a huge file. Yeah. So it's really cool. So I've been sending those out, and we're going to do a video conference. We're actually going to do a party, a pre-party, and a party, where we're going to do a lab, but we're going to do 2 parties before the lab to teach people how to use the platform. So we don't have all of our users going, "Can you help me turn on my, can you hear me?
Yeah.
hello,
Yeah, a little
so we're going
dress
to have a
rehearsal.
couple of pre-parties to try and train our participants on how to use our platform,
That's a
which
good
I think
idea.
it might work or not. Well, I'll let you know.
But you feel pretty confident already, do you, around video?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm gonna bring on Christopher if he can give me a thumbs up if he's happy to come on, or he can run away if he doesn't want to come on. But Christopher, and then I'm gonna bring on Sylvia shortly, and Sylvia can give me a thumbs up if she wants to come on, or she can give me a thumbs down if she doesn't want to. But Mo, you want to stick around for a bit?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna bring on Christopher. Hello, Christopher.
Hello, Christopher.
How are you? Oh my God, you've got like speedy voice. Something's happening with your voice where it sounds like you're a duck.
One of those happy little accidents.
Yeah, I don't know if it's picking up two things or not. But sorry about that. But you can tell us you're doing all right already. Are you okay? Have I embarrassed you? But yeah, okay. So I don't know what's happening. Yeah, you. So Christopher's voice, not your voice broken. Your mic might be broken, but that's okay. We'll try you another time, will we? Give us one more shout and see if it works. Oh, okay, grand. All right. So sorry about that, Christopher.
I think this is apropos. This is what people are expecting now. Like, don't
Yeah,
freak out. Like, just say, "Hey, whoops,
absolutely.
dang,
Absolutely.
next."
If I could understand the cartoon voice that was coming out, then I definitely would have kept chatting to him. But I'll try him again in a minute. Sorry about that, Christopher. Okay, I'm going to bring on Sylvia if Sylvia's happy to come on. So here is Sylvia.
Hi,
Good morning.
Simon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, where are you? You're in the UK?
I'm in UK, in sunny Manchester.
Lovely. Everything okay over there?
Yeah, it's going well. Can I just say thanks? That was a great session. I've actually become a newbie for virtual stuff. I've done quite a few things this week on them. I had a work-related pitch yesterday, which went well. And this morning I did another meeting, which sort of did go well. I've actually been they're encouraging to chair their next session at some stage. I need to sort of that. But this was a really good session, so thank you. And I like the sort of the informality and I think what I liked about it, I'm going to be direct, is the lack of you being pompous. You're not pompous about what you say, or I know you've got a sixth sense of humor. I follow you on Twitter. I know you're not shy to say the odd rude words. That. And
I try not to.
I won't do that. But
you try not to. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was really good. And I actually think, from what I'm hearing from people who have had to do virtual meetings and conferences these last few weeks, is they're actually thinking when we get back to normal, they're actually going to do it. In fact, I was speaking to a chief executive of a very successful company only last week. And they said, I don't have any reason to go into my office. And I said, of course you do. You're going to have the odd meeting. They said, no, I can do it virtual.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think
it's going to change everything permanently, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it still feels a bit uncomfortable, but I think people are embracing it overall.
Well, I don't think we're never going to, you're never going to get away from the fact that one-on-one being in real time is the best way to build rapport, the best way to read that body language, everything like that. But I think sort of what we're being thrown into, we've actually had to feel the fear and go with it anyway. A lot of us.
How was your pitch? Was it, compared to a real life pitch? That's new for you?
I felt very sort of, when I knew I had to do it, it was, oh my God, I've got to do it. Don't have a choice. Because I think it's really important to actually, with that eye contact. And I was very, but I actually remembered what somebody said to me about when you're doing virtual, retain the eye contact, even though it's down the camera and you've got a few people there, just retain the eye contact. And that's sort of what I did, and just got into my flow.
Nice. Yeah, actually on that, I don't think I said it in the session, but the eye contact's a weird thing, because usually the person you're looking at is down here and the camera's up here. Yeah. And so we naturally break eye contact. One of the things that I do, if eye contact is really important, like in a pitch, is I'll actually drag the video up as close to the camera as possible. And then it looks a bit more like I'm looking at the person that I'm talking to. So for anyone listening, that's a nice little tip if eye contact is important for who you're talking to. But it's hard because it's a
sticky note right here by my camera with an arrow pointing at the camera,
saying, "Look at me."
Saying, "Don't forget to look here, not here." because
Does it
I'm
work?
dumb and I can't remember shit for more than about 2 seconds. So
I think I have Christopher is trying again with a different microphone. I'm going to bring on Christopher very quickly and just see if this works. Christopher, is your voice working?
It should be now.
yeah,
Great.
nice.
Yeah, I have this old webcam / mic that has just, it's for a few weeks now. It's been malfunctioning, so I just ordered a brand new one, and now I'm thinking to myself, I need a Yeti microphone.
I love the Yeti. It's beautiful.
I have a Yeti.
Yeah.
It looks
Does
so
that
professional.
does it tilt down so you can get the mic off of screen?
Yeah,
if
so you
wanted
can.
to?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
you can put it like that. I mean, I could have it lower if I wanted. So I've seen some people who have it like on a mount coming down here, you know, and like one of those DJ mounts. So it's pretty versatile. But I like it up here because it makes me feel like I'm a disc jockey.
Yeah. So I had a question for you.
Sure.
I wrote down. I know you mentioned live streaming from YouTube, and I haven't tried that at the senior center that I work at yet.
Yeah.
I've done lots of Facebook Live videos, and they seem to go over really well. But even to broaden my audience, can you live stream YouTube from a smartphone? I've never tried.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So if you open up the YouTube app, then there should be a go live button, or there's a little camera at the top, and then it says go live. Let me do it back there. So yeah, when I open up my YouTube, I can just say go live. And then it'll ask you to share the stuff. But actually, yeah, it does. So it does it all for you. It's just as easy, if not easier, than Facebook and things like that. And then the versatility of what you can do with it afterwards is really good. They have great editing stuff in there and everything. So yeah, I mean, if you're doing it already through Facebook, you'll probably find it really easy to go to YouTube. And then just on that, there's a few services which will actually split it. So things like Restream, there's a service called Restream. So you could actually record in one place, and what will happen is it'll live stream on Facebook and YouTube at the same time.
Okay,
which is a great way to do it if you're trying to reach as much of an audience as possible. Then that might work nicely for you.
Yeah, my director is pretty scared of getting on camera, so I'm going to do some practice videos using YouTube. I'll restream it to Facebook, and then show her, that yes, you can do it too. And just like you said, none of us are experts.
What's the worst that's going to happen?
It just takes practice, and I've gotten more and more comfortable over the years on camera, and now I can just talk from the heart. It's much easier.
Well, you're a New Yorker as well, aren't you? So you're a natural talker.
Well, Long Island.
Long Island, okay.
Yeah, east of Manhattan, but yes, some of us out here are even chattier than Manhattan.
I had a question.
I'm going to see. Oh, sorry, Mo.
Yeah, I just had a quick question about like scaling. Like, we're going to do our first webinar where we're going to do a creativity lab where we're going to talk about creative writing with a poet. I know I can get 250 people to show up. That's one of my skill sets. But I'm terrified to have 250 people at my first thing. Like, so we're trying to decide: do we do 20 at our first lab? Do we do 50? Do we do 250? Do we just jump in and hope for the best? Like scalability. Like, how have you scaled yourself to a larger audience? Like, mostly I'm thinking technically, like on the technical side. Like, I can talk to 20 people or 200 people. It's the same here, but on the back end, like, how did you scale from 2 people to 500? I don't know how many people are here.
Yeah,
today,
sure. So, I mean, when you're using tools, sorry, Sylvia and Christopher, are you okay to stick around, or do you want me to? Yeah. Okay, cool. So the things like YouTube and Facebook, they're obviously built for scale. So you're not going to have any technical issues if that's what you're using. If you start using your own website and things like that, that's when it comes into play. So like anyone who was at our conference last year, you might have had a bit of trouble at the very beginning because we had I think we aimed for 1,000 people and we had 4,000 people on it. So suddenly there was like a technical thing. That's one of the things I like about YouTube and Facebook is you don't have to worry about all that stuff. YouTube's not going down. But it is, besides that, it doesn't really, not a whole lot changes from your point of view. I would be, I would always be hesitant to cap how many people can come into it because we want as many people as possible. But if you're just streaming to them, then there's no reason why you should cap it. I mean, the only reason you'd cap it, I think, is if it's going to affect the interaction.
Because that's what we want, is like, we want literally everybody on the screen.
Yeah.
So our presenter can see people writing or looking up or on their phone.
Sure.
So he can pay attention to the crowd.
Yeah,
So
so
that's kind of like,
if you've got multiple people on video, then it's much more challenging. And so
Yeah.
most of the services will limit you at around like 12 to 20 people.
okay.
Yeah, including like Zoom and Whereby and things like that. You know, you can still get more people in to listen or to watch, but generally, you're going to have that cap of how many people can actually share their video. I mean, you could do it like this with StreamYard, where you bring on people at a time.
Right.
You know, and
This
that
is
way
cool. I like it. Yeah.
it's not overloading. And then you just kick people out and you bring in the next people. But yeah, usually when you're showing video, you're always going to have that cap because just people's computers can't handle it if there's more than 20 people
Gotcha. Okay.
chatting. If that makes sense.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna see who else is there. Who wants to stick around and who wants to go?
I'll always stay, but
you hanging. You got nothing better. Yeah.
What am I gonna do? Go?
Yeah.
Do nothing.
I'm going to bring in Andy, Andy Watts, if he's available. Give us a thumbs up if Andy's ready. Okay, let me see if Andy's coming in because I haven't spoken to Andy for ages. Hey, Andy.
Hi, Simon. How are you?
I'm good. Do you know everyone? This is Mo.
I don't know. Nice to meet you.
Hi,
guys.
How's things going for you? You all right?
Yeah, good. Very, very busy. I'm on the Trust and Foundation side, so you can imagine at the moment we're being relied on a lot in my charity to get the big bucks in.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, lots of pressure. And are you doing video? I know you're a blogger, but are you doing much video, or are you thinking of moving into it?
Well, actually, kind of part of my interest here is I'm actually in. I do Toastmasters, and I'm into the club. The area level, and it's all going to be video now. So I just wanted to get some kind of tips on that really. So this was really helpful, and just preparing for to deliver my speech that way.
Oh, nice one. Yeah, because all the Toastmasters clubs, they're all having to shift from those in-person things to virtual stuff. So it's a different experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've done a couple now with like the club, like just to practice giving speeches in that way. But obviously you want to kind of do it in the best way to hopefully get through if I can to the next level. So
that's cool. Well, it'll be good. Best of luck with the speech. I hope it goes well.
Thank you.
What are you speaking on?
My speech is like make your memories magic. And it's about the experience of my mum having Alzheimer's, but then the importance of us, appreciating the moments in our life, kind of linked to that. So
nice,
very good. Good on you.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate
it. You seem chirpy and happy, where compared to like Mo, who looks like he's giving up.
Oh, come on!
You seem like you're fired up for this, are you?
Yeah, put on a jacket, man.
Wearing a jacket. It's true. I've got one more person in the queue, which is Linda. So if Linda is happy for me to bring her on, if you want to give me a thumbs up, Linda, then I will bring you on. I'm not seeing a thumbs up. Maybe she doesn't want to come on. Linda Henriksen. But if Linda wants to come on and chat, then she can give us a thumbs up. I can't see thumbs up or down. And if anyone else wants to join us, we're going to be wrapping up soon. But if you go to Fundraising Everywhere, Linda's coming in. Cool. And Michael, if Michael wants to come in, Michael can give us a chat, give us a thumbs up. So first of all, hello, Linda. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Where are you talking to us from?
I'm actually calling from Brantford, Ontario.
Ooh, lovely. Canadian.
Yeah, little tiny town of Brantford. Yeah.
What's all the stuff? Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask what's happening about Justin Trudeau today, because I keep seeing his name popping up about something. Did something just happen with him?
Well, he's actually been doing an address every day. He's been doing, I actually missed today's because it was happening at the same time as this. And I'm a bit of a newbie here. So this is the first time I've been able to pop in and say hello and check out the broadcast, and signed up with StreamYard. So
nice.
A bit nervous and yeah. So,
yeah, well,
and I know I look like a new
No, not at all. You seem very comfortable. You don't really talk on video. Are you trying to do it more and more?
I am trying to do it more and more. I mean, I've had the the occasion where, you know, I'm always talking on behalf of my organization, and we tend to have our CEO as our primary spokesperson,
Yeah.
but then I'm secondary spokesperson. And they seem to be a little bit uncomfortable in front of camera. And I do a lot of coaching with regard to that. But then for myself, when it's more of a, I mean, when I'm talking on behalf of my organization, it's all about the organization. So I'm presenting myself in a very different way.
Yeah.
So I do find it's a lot more vulnerable, because it's kind of like, it's not just me as a director on behalf of the organization. It's all of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's just one part of who I am.
Yeah, I mean, I know
So
my partner Nikki Bell always says it. She's like, you know, when you're representing a charity, it's like wearing a cape, and you kind of you have an excuse, or you're allowed to do more and go further than you normally would. But when you start talking about yourself and stuff, you can feel quite vulnerable. You can feel quite exposed, can't you?
you can. But but the other thing I've noticed is that the more people that I've watched, that I've engaged with, that I've been able to have an opportunity to watch and listen and learn from, I think we all have a place in this. We all have a place in we have something to offer. We might not know what that is, but we all have something to offer to everyone. So
absolutely.
I'm hoping to
And
figure
yeah,
that
I
out.
really believe that everyone brings their expertise. Even if you're someone who's failed every single time you've tried something, there's lessons in that, you know. And I think that communication and that talking is great.
The two other things that happened, just as you actually cued me in, my CEO called my cell phone.
Yeah.
And the cat has decided, my little office mate here has decided that they're not going to curl up in the corner. And so we're going to have some of those real life things happening. Where the cat's probably going to start screaming in the background.
Good. I mean, I don't know why people are embarrassed. That's all we want is the cats and dogs. We don't want to see humans. That's amazing.
Well,
I'm gonna bring Michael on now. Do you want to stick around for a bit, Linda? We're gonna be finishing soon, but
thank you. I'm just going to text my boss back.
All right, fair enough.
Let him know where I am.
All right, here's Michael now. Hey, Michael.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
good.
I know that guy.
Do you know him? How do you know
I know
him?
him. He
work with that guy.
It's like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Now, Michael, you look like a man who knows what you're doing with sound. Talk me through this equipment. This looks nice.
Oh, just a Yeti mic.
Yeah, you got a Yeti? Lovely.
I have
talk about boys and their toys.
I know. I'm sorry, Sylvia, but you'll know once you get one. And I love how you have your what's it called, popper or filter or
yeah.
How much does one of those go for?
The little popper things, I think they're like $20 or so. Not too bad.
I'm gonna get one.
Yeah.
Michael's a tech. He's my tech. He's my back end tech guy.
Yeah.
But I've seen you front of camera as well, haven't I? I think I saw you on one of the.
He was one of my In One Take interviewees.
Yes.
He interviewed me on the very first In One Take.
I knew I recognized it.
I usually stay behind the camera, but
yeah, fair enough. Do you like getting in front of the camera, or are you more of a tech person?
More of a tech person. I did do like a Twitch stream for a while.
Yeah.
So I was on that, but I never really got comfortable being in front of the camera, so I just stick to behind mainly. You were gaming? Yeah, I was doing that for a little while.
Yeah, very good. That's cool. I've wanted to do more and more gaming, but I'm not good enough at gaming or talking. So, cool. Any other tips, Michael, for someone who's behind the scenes that I missed out? Anything else? What's the one thing you wish you knew when you started filming stuff?
Preparation and planning is huge, and practice. That's the huge thing. Yeah, expect the unexpected, I guess, basically.
Yeah, things always go wrong. So
absolutely.
Yeah, fair enough. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Right.
My advice is to have somebody like Michael on your team behind you when you're talking, so that when something goes wrong, he just fixes it while you just look cool.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully look cool. Or hopefully fix it. Yeah. One of the two.
Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap up if that's all right. But I will say there's a Fundraising Everywhere networking event happening in about an hour. So if you're bored, I'm going to put the web address at the bottom here. And so if anyone wants to come across to that, we'll be hanging out there. But otherwise, thank you very much, all of you, for coming on.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you, Simon. This is
great. I really appreciate it. Yeah. But hopefully we can do it again.
I'm gonna go find some better lighting.
Me too.
It makes a big difference, doesn't it? Yeah, you need to get all your lights just pointing at you. But that's cool. All right, Linda, I'm going to say goodbye to Linda. I'm going to say goodbye to Andy, to Michael, to Sylvia, and to Mo.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Hey,
Bye
guys.
now.
Thank you. And I'm actually going to bring on Christopher because I didn't properly say goodbye to Christopher. I'll bring him on for a second because he's back. Christopher.
Hey, yeah, I tapped on the wrong thing on my phone when I hit the back arrow rather than the X out of the chat box or something.
I thought you'd stormed off.
Furious.
But come here, I just came on to say goodbye and thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you again. Take care, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, that's it. Thank you to those of us who joined us for the training, and especially those who came on and practiced what they preached and came on screen. So we're going to try and do it again. I imagine I'll do it again in a few weeks, and if anyone wants to, anyone wants to come on screen and they didn't get a chance, then they'll get another chance soon. So please do keep an eye out for that. Right, I'm going to sign off. We are doing networking drinks in 50 minutes. Fundraising Everywhere networking drinks. This is just video chat. It's not broadcast live. It's just in our networking room. So if anyone's feeling bored or anything, then please feel free to come in. Oh, I've just seen Gemma Cowan on LinkedIn. Hi, Gemma. Oh my God, Gemma's still in Toronto. Wow. Okay. So if you're interested in coming to the networking, chat to myself, chat to Nikki, chat to other people. I'm going to be drinking tea at it, but you can booze yourself up if you want. We will be in fundraisingeverywhere.com/rooms. So those are our networking rooms. They're open all the time. They're open now already. So if you want to go and see who else is there, there might be someone else there for you to chat if you want to network. Otherwise, I'm going to get a cup of tea or something, and then I'll pop in. I have a couple bits to do. And then I'll be in there if anyone wants to have a chat or just hang out. I know it can feel pretty kind of lonely and isolated. So our networking rooms are always open at fundraisingeverywhere.com/rooms. So you can go there and you can chat to whoever you want to chat. So that's it. So I'm going to say goodbye now. Thank you all very much for joining me. Sorry, I went a little bit over time. We'll see what the feedback is like. Might do it again in a few weeks for those of you who didn't get a chance to come on screen. But if you have any questions or you want to talk through anything, I'm happy to help in any way I can. I can't necessarily help very well. But there's my contact details, Simon Scriver, Simon at fundraisingeverywhere.com. I'm on Twitter as Toast Fundraiser, or you can find me on LinkedIn. I've got a discount code for you there as well, FETV. That's for percentage. I've forgotten what percent. I think it's 10%, 10 or 20%. 10% off anything on fundraisingeverywhere.com if you use the coupon code FETV. So you can use that on membership, on our conferences, on our training, whatever. Obviously, like our networking thing tonight is free, and lots of our stuff are free. But if there's anything paid coming up that you want to do, then you can use FETV, and it should work for you. All right. So those are my contact details. So please feel free to reach out. But otherwise, I'm going to go. I'm going to get something to eat. I'm going to get something to drink. And then I'll see you in the networking rooms at fundraisingeverywhere.com/rooms. I'll be there in a little bit. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Take care.